Well, hello there, motherfuckers. And I'm really happy that I get to do a movie review on something other than a fucking superhero movie. People are just way too fucking sensitive when it comes to superhero movies for some reason. But anyway, I want to talk about The Conjuring 2. Boy, oh boy, was this a great horror movie. Um, it was phenomenal. And it just further cements the fact that I think James Wan is probably the master of horror at the moment. With Wes Craven passing on and, John Carpenter not really getting involved in the directing of things, without a doubt, James Wan is probably one of the best. I mean, after giving us the first Conjuring, Insidious, and, well, a host of other films as well. Even the films that have been knocked, like I even enjoyed Insidious 2, for example. I have yet to see Insidious 3. I'm a bit worried about watching that one because I've heard some pretty terrible things about it. But this is a movie, Conjuring 2, that really, hits everything in the right way. And the best thing about James Wan is that, well, I want to say that he doesn't use a lot of cliches. And if he does use cliches in this film, they're always modified in the way that makes them seem original, if that makes any sense. And well, it really does make sense because there is a certain formula to doing a horror movie, obviously. But this is one. This is a horror movie that doesn't pull any punches. This is a horror movie that, unlike The Purge or something, before I get started, I'm sorry to be like Spoonie or somebody when they do a movie review. They talk at length about the fucking trailers that they saw before the movie, but I have to talk about the trailers. I have to fucking talk about the fucking trailers. Um, I saw a lot of shitty horror movies, thrillers, whatever the hell you want to call them, um, from trailers, from the coming attractions, and they really looked very unimpressive. They looked horrible. I'm taking a look at The Purge 3 and Election Day, and I just cannot believe that they got that far. I'm thinking back in 2012 when I did my first review on The Purge, the original movie. And I said, here's a concept for a film that that had a lot of potential. I mean, if you had 24 hours to, go out in the streets and kill people, hey, that is a great movie concept. You could see a lot of interesting things happen in that film. It would be fucking insane. You'd have some great opportunities to make some great fucking cinema there, some great horror cinema. You could have some unforgettable moments, but instead we got some cheap, generic, boring movie that was extremely predictable. And I talked at length about the film, about The Purge. And then they made a Purge 2 Anarchy, where I said right then and there, I'm not even watching this movie. Almost, it's almost common knowledge in the horror world that the sequel will never be good if the first movie was bad. That's pretty much how it works. And most of the time, the sequel never lives up to the predecessor. And well, that actually might not be the case for The Conjuring. I just want to put that as a side note. But I'm looking at the third Purge now, and I mean, obviously, I know that, don't be a smartass. I know exactly why there's a third Purge, because people spent money to see the past two Purges. And, they were probably hoping that the Purge 2 Anarchy was better than the first Purge. And I don't even have to see the movie to know that that's not true. And I don't even need to see the third one to know that that's not true as well. That the third is not better than the second or the first. It's probably even fucking worse. It's just, this is a concept that could have been utilized. And now that we're up to the third movie, there's no fucking hope for it. Just want to say that. Anyway, then I'm looking at Don't Breathe, and this movie is just like, it's just like a normal guy. Um, it's just like a really vicious blind guy, and he's just giving hell to a bunch of kids. He's not even a demon or a spirit or anything like that, which just kind of makes it lame. And I even said this to my friends last night when we were watching The Conjuring 2, afterwards, and we talked about the trailers when we walked out of the film, and I said, man, that movie Don't Breathe, it's like that movie just looks so unbelievable. It kind of reminds me of just like it's just totally unbelievable. It reminds me of just something really stupid. Like there was this movie called Hostage with Bruce Willis, and it was kind of like a fucking thriller, I guess you could call it. And then this kid just gets like fucking demonic out of nowhere, but he's not been possessed, but he's just acting fucking super evil for no reason. Put it down in the comments if you've seen this movie. And then there's like one scene where the kid's just going crawling through a vent, and it's not even supposed to be a horror movie. It's not even about that, and he's going fucking ape shit. And that's the same thing I think about Don't Breathe. Like, it's hard to say this, but I find it very far-fetched when it's like a normal human being going fucking ape shit, like, to that degree, as opposed to like if it's a demon or a spirit. Then it's actually, to me, it's more realistic and I could take it more seriously. And I don't know how the fuck that makes sense, but it makes sense to me at least. If that makes me an idiot, then so be it. But when I see them like portraying a normal human being just running around like a fucking lunatic, and they don't have a backstory like Mike Myers or fucking Jason Voorhees, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like this is just a crazy man, and it's just like over the top, and just it doesn't look good to me. So that film looked like shit. Anyway, then there was this movie by James Wan. I think it's called Lights Out, and that looks promising because it's fucking James Wan. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about The Conjuring 2. Now that I've talked about just like, there's a lot of unpromising things in the horror realm. There's just many directors that just don't know what they're doing. And James Wan is one of the few he's kind of reinventing the game, or at least keeping up with tradition, you could at least say. This is a film that, once again, you've got great cinematography. And basically, this is just about a family in the UK being haunted. We see the characters from the first film getting involved to help out the family. And basically, spoiler alert, you shouldn't even be fucking watching this video because you know that I spoil movies in these reviews. So anyway, here's like where you can close out the video and spoilers. So there's an old man who is haunting their house, and it sounds like a pretty simple plot, but and it ends up that it's what's really interesting is they don't find out until the end that this spirit is actually possessed by a demon. So a spirit was actually being used by a demon, and that is really something that I've never seen before. I'm sure that they've probably done it in some other smaller films, but I've never seen it done on a grand stage like this, like a big blockbuster horror film. And, I really liked what we saw, and there's so much going on in this film. There's a lot of scares. They're frequent, and they're like, it's very weird how James Wan does this. So it's like, jump scares, something's going to pop out at you, when somebody's rounding a corner, or there might be a fake out moment of some sort. But it's just James Wan and whoever he hired to be in charge of cinematography, or his vision of cinematography, whatever it may be. It's so effective here because you're expecting something to happen. You're expecting that spirit to pop out, and you know it's coming, but you don't know exactly how he's going to do it. And that's what you really need to like understand if you're going to truly appreciate a James Wan film. Uh, you know that something is coming. You can feel it nipping at your heels. You know that the scare is coming. You know you're about to see something scary, but you're not sure how he's going to give it to you. And he always gives it to you in a unique way that you're not really expecting. So like I said, there's massive spoilers in this review, so this is kind of more of just you've already probably seen the movie, or you're just very unsure about the movie at this point. If you're like really watching this, I'm assuming. So pretty much, this is like one of the scenes, for example. So this spirit is like well, the demon, I should say, that's possessing the spirit, because the spirit is actually not menacing, really. He's actually good. He wants to move on, but it's really like kind of like the demon has kind of captured him and is kind of using him. So then there's like this point where like the kids were playing around with a sort of music box, and then there's this character called the Crooked Man, and the thing is like I'm like sitting there and I'm saying to myself, I'm like, wow, that character in the song, like he's depicted on the music box toy, I was like, is pretty fucking creepy. And there's actually like I kind of figured like after they showed it more than one time, I was like, yeah, I think that we might actually see this guy at one point. And sure enough, the demon brings him to life, and it's pretty fucking horrifying. And I was kind of saying that it was CG. One of my friends was saying that he thinks that it was stop motion. I'm gonna go and say that it was CG, but I kind of like that they showed you this like horrific fucking looking character come to life totally unexpectedly, and then they kind of just get rid of him, and then he comes back, and like they do it like twice, and then that's it, and they don't wear it out, and then there's this one point where the character from the first movie, Ed, he's Patrick Wilson, he's helping out, the family over in the UK. And then there's like this fucking tent that the little boy set up, for the UK family. And, this tent looks fucking creepy as hell. It's just the way how they shot it. It's just like off to the other side of like a fucking hallway at the top of the stairs. And it's like, it's like I'm going to remember the layout of this house for the rest of my life, because it was like, it was such a creepy movie. And it's kind of like, it's just like a house that you remember, just like you remember the house in Amityville, you remember the house in The Exorcist. And well, this movie does have a lot of throwbacks to The Exorcist, without a doubt. And even the way how the movie comes on, the intro is very Exorcist like. But anyway, I want to talk about this like fucking scene. So it's like there's this tent, and earlier in the movie, that this little boy, he puts his like truck inside the tent, and then like all of a sudden, like the truck comes back out, and it's like that like that was going to happen, obviously. You're just kind of waiting for it to happen. um but I like this scene also, what they showed before he even goes and attempts to put the truck uh back in the tent. It's like the truck does come back out, so then he's going back in the bed, and like he hears a noise before that even happens. He's playing with his toys, he goes to bed, and then like he hears a noise, like the truck is making the noise again, and then he looks back, like he's like at his bed, and he looks in the doorway, and he keeps looking back, and it's like bothering him, like he had to know what it was, so he goes to experiment. And like right there, that is something that I feel that they miss out in a lot of horror movies. Like there's a realistic um way of doing things. I mean, I've even been caught doing that, like where you kind of like you've got to know the source, and it's like it's really unbelievable that it took so long for somebody to kind of figure that out. Like these humans, they act very realistically. The actors act very realistically when it comes to reacting to things in the film. Um, so anyway, I'm getting at myself. I mean, I wanted to talk about so Patrick Wilson, like he kneels down to that music box, the same thing where the tent is. So it kind of lends itself. The tent there's shit happening in that fucking tent. It looks so creepy how they shoot it. So um, he sticks his head inside the tent, um, and I forget if like the music box starts off by itself or he kind of just examines it, and then all of a sudden the um the machine stops and the little graphic of the crooked man goes away. And it's like and then there's like a moment of silence. And you know that they're gonna show that character again. But you don't know exactly how they're going to do it because that's just fucking James Wan. He looks up and the crooked man has this big fucking smile on his face, and you're just like, holy fucking shit. And I think I have to admit, like, this movie, if it didn't make me jump, it at least had me feeling tense. It had me feeling anxiety, which was the perfect thing because, like, there were so many scares, and you really didn't know where they were going to come from. And the way how they jump around. James Wan knows the right number of fake outs to do, the right time. His timing is perfect on these scares. They're unbelievable. And also one other scene that I really have to talk about that I liked because there was a lot of stuff that I liked in this film. Um, One of the particular scenes was when they're talking to the spirit and they don't realize yet that he's been possessed by the demon. um, so the spirit's name is Bill, and they're talking to him, and so he's been possessing the little girl. So then when Ed wants to talk to Bill, he won't talk because everybody, him and his wife, and a couple other people are there, and he doesn't want to talk when everybody's staring at him. So then they have them all turn their backs, and then they show him talking, and it's like they don't want you to just see the spirit just sitting there talking. They kind of just blur the camera out, and it's just so effective because it's like they don't want you to just focus on how he looks and like possibly criticize like how the spirit looks and everything, and you're just kind of focusing, and it's like this really weird image. It's so creepy, this effect, and it's kind of like I really just understood where James Wan was coming from with this. Like, you just see darkness, and it's like you're trying to almost like kind of see it, but you've already seen what Bill looks like. Um, and but you now you see it blurred and everything, and I guess there's a little bit of foreshadowing that he's been possessed by the demon. Um, but it's just a really effective scene. You just can't really see him. You can't really see what's going on back there. But it's like it's really interesting how it's shot from over the shoulder of Patrick Wilson. And like I said, this just really lends itself to the cinematography and just making things interesting and new, even if they're not necessarily like brand spanking new techniques. Or moments in like a horror film, they feel brand new because of the way how they're presented. Um, so yeah, guys. So that's pretty much what I have for right now. The Conjuring 2, I really had to go back and watch the first film, but so far, I really have to say that this film was really good. Oh, and I really have to mention this. So the demon is like a nun, and then there's this one scene where like the lights go out and it looks like this painting that Patrick Wilson made is the actual demon. Like, but then they turn on the lights and it's just the painting. And then all of a sudden you see like fucking hands coming out of the side of the painting, and then that's the demon. And it's like, I don't know. This is just very stylish, but it's never like you're just like, it's not like so stylish that you're just taken out of it, but not thinking it's scary. It's like, no, it's like I had enough time to appreciate everything and be scared at the same time, which was something that I definitely appreciated. And I gotta say, James Wan, he is the master of horror right now as it sits. Um, yeah. So, guys, I really definitely recommend you see this film. Hopefully that you didn't sit through all these spoilers before seeing the film. But anyway, yeah, guys, I'll catch you next time.